So what I'm going to cover today is both Organic Symphony and Woodland Secrets. They're both my latest releases. They both stem from a much larger piece, so it just makes sense to talk about both right now. So the basic idea of releasing these two pieces was to offer a stripped back, shortened version of my first guided meditation release named The Tree of Life, which basically clocks in at around 20 plus minutes. My plan is to do the same for all really long form meditations that I release in the future. I think it gives the listener much more meditation options when it comes to duration of each meditation session. Not everyone has the time or the capacity to meditate for 30 minutes. So if all you have is 5 minutes or 8 minutes, I've got you covered. So I will be releasing a roughly 8-minute version and a 3.5-minute version of each long form meditation moving forward. These two shorter versions will be released as singles on all digital platforms online, and you can also purchase it from the Pathway to Perception Bandcamp page. You can find all the relevant links in the description of this video below. So these two shorter versions are set in a rainforest, and they revolve around the same premise as the Tree of Life release. Obviously parts had to be edited out to make the shortened versions work, but I've done my best to include as much detail as possible. I really enjoyed making these shorter stripped down versions. They're straight to the point and deliver a really concise meditation and just give the listener more options when it comes to the time you have to spend on your meditation routine. These two meditations were put together shortly after the Tree of Life was mastered. I had the idea of editing down the longer form meditation, but wasn't really sure whether I could condense it all down into a shortened version. Anyway, I started playing around with the idea in Cubase, that's my music editing software, and found they worked exceptionally well in short form. In fact, I started editing Organic Symphony first, which is the slightly longer version, and then decided to try editing it down even more, which became Woodland Secrets. Woodland Secrets is the shorter of the two, which meant editing the spoken word dialogue a little more aggressively, but it still flows really nicely. But the pacing and the gaps between the dialogue had to change the most. So each spoken word passage has a small gap between each phrase, which still works really well in terms of the story and the guiding spoken word. As soon as these two were edited, mixed and mastered, and the artwork was completed, they were both released online almost immediately. They both came together really quickly. There was a bit of editing required to match up the sound effects with the new positioning of the spoken word, but overall this was a pretty painless process. Everything was already pretty much mixed, so it was just a matter of getting the arrangement right and making sure all the spoken word dialogue was positioned correctly. No, not at all. Both versions came together as planned. When I had the initial idea of creating shorter stripped back versions, I wasn't sure it was even possible, but once I started working on it, it all came together absolutely perfectly and better than I could have hoped. I'm actually so glad this idea just popped into my head. because it really gives everyone a chance to have a go at meditation, no matter how much or how little time you have. Overall, I'm so happy with these two meditations. They came together pretty much effortlessly and they sound really good to my ears. As I said, I wasn't sure this idea of shortened versions would even work, so to have them come out the way they did and to have them sound great and work really well as a standalone meditation, I'm over the moon. I couldn't be happier with the end result. I love the way they both sound, and I love the fact that this is going to be a regular part of my release schedule, moving forward. Well, that's it for now. I'll catch up with you again next release, which will be not too far away. Really looking forward to getting the next one out. It's brand new. I'm really proud of it, and I can't wait for you all to hear it. Until then.